Welcome back, everybody. A cryptocurrency. That's it. That's my opening for this session. Well, cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin has grown in popularity in India.
Can you walk us through the story of how you started? Was it starting this cryptocurrency exchange in India an experience? Can you share it with us, please?
Sure, Mahesh. So I think the experience is kind of cliche. Like I think a lot of people have gone through the same path. Maybe some stopped there. We just went on. So it all started hearing about Bitcoin. Initially, like everyone else, we thought it's a fad, right? But keep on hearing the name. I thought I should just look it up. So I read the white papers. I really got hooked. The technology was amazing, right? So once that happened, I was able to understand technology. I started investing in it. Then at that point of time in 2016, 2017, there was a lot of obstacles in investing in cryptocurrencies. It was not easy. You could just invest in one cryptocurrency. The spread was huge. So, and the customer care was almost non-existent. So that is when we thought we should make this something somewhat better, right? My co-founder Vikram, he was also sold on this idea. He was working with Amazon, and we know Amazon solves customer care at scale, right? Like never before. So we thought we want to bring that kind of a experience, seamless experience in crypto, because this market had so much potential, but because there were so many hindrances, right? People are not entering this. So we started Giottus in 2017, and our exchange was launched in 2018 April. Incidentally, a week before our launch of the exchange, RBI circular came which said banks cannot support crypto-related entities, and it was a actually it was a blessing in disguise for us. Like not many exchanges will say, but at that point in time, we had a large number of exchanges who were like kind of the oligopoly in the market. They all went out of the market in the next 6 months, right? A lot of competition also went out of the market who had just started, who were like about to start. So it kind of, and it was also the bear market, right? 2017 December was the end of the bull market, and after that the bear market has begun. So, and this was the perfect period for us to start. Like, so it took 2-3 years for us to consolidate, build our platform, get the customer base, right? And that's our journey. So it has been 4 fantabulous years of Giottus, and we are happy all along.
Nice. Over to you, Sharan.
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Mahesh, Arjun. Pleasure to meet you guys again. As most people do not know this, but this is my second stint in building a crypto company in India. I used to previously be a founding member at Uno Coin back in 2014. Then back in 2018, I moved out of Uno Coin, went to CoinSwitch, where I currently work, which was then operating globally. And then when the banking ban, which Arjun mentioned, which got lifted in April of 2020, decided to come back to India because that's where my heart is, right? Predominantly speaking, some of the lessons that I've seen operating a crypto business globally and then coming back to India is that India, the way people invest in India, right? The mindset of people who are investing in India is the center focus of how we've designed CoinSwitch, right? Most importantly, for one, in this country, people don't invest so much, right? Look at the number of people who are investors in the US as compared to the investors in India. A very small population of people invest in India. Second, we're basically a low trust society, right? So introducing an unregulated asset which is not backed by the government, where the government has given back-to-back warnings, where regulators have put on hefty hands, launching something like that was extremely tricky, right? But 2 things that really kind of stood out to us was that, one, we're a country with a dream, right? A huge amount of millennials that we have today, number of millennials in the country, extremely tech savvy. So we realized that the potential still lies, although of all the obstacles that I've mentioned. The way we countered that was that, one, we realized that most people don't invest because, one, either they don't have enough information about it or it's too complicated for them to invest, right? So we built a platform which is essentially extremely easy to use, right? We wanted to make it look closest to the app that they use, which is probably like a Swiggy. So we wanted to build an experience which kind of is as simple as someone buying food online and replicate that for buying cryptocurrencies. We did that, right? And the second thing that we focused on was the fact that there isn't a lot of education out there about crypto. So we became one of the first companies in the country to actually go all out, right? Come out in the front and go out and talk to users, educate them, Today we do initiatives with NDTV called Coffee and Crypto. Today we work with a lot of large platforms in educating cryptocurrencies to the investors. And I think these two key focus areas have been of tremendous success to us. As of today, we're just 18 months old in the country. We have about 12 million users and are backed by some of the largest VCs like Tiger, Sequoia, A16Z, Coinbase, you name it, we have them on our board.
Right. It's fascinating to actually listen to both your journey and also what a year it has been since you started and where we are today. And I personally am a customer of both your platform, and I am fascinated to actually use crypto as an asset class for my investment. And it's, I think, part of your portfolio planning, right? So up to about 2% of your portfolio could potentially be in crypto, but you need to understand the challenges, risks, opportunities. And I think for the general audience out here, what would you actually suggest the opportunity, the reliability, security, and generally speaking, what are your thoughts on crypto regulations in India, and what policies need to be changed or enhanced or introduced? I'll start with you, Arjun, again.
Sure, Mahesh. So, first thing that we have to understand is when it comes to technology and regulation, the technology is going to come first, right? You cannot discover a regulated technology, right? The technology discovery happens, the adoption happens, then government says, okay, people are using this technology for so and so purposes, right? This is what the technology is all about, because it's fast evolving. What crypto was in 2010 was just Bitcoin. Now it's a whole gamut of assets, right? Ethereum is completely different from what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is almost like a payment platform, and Ethereum is like a computing platform like AWS. So, and this is still evolving. NFTs came recently, and last year we had DeFi explosion, right? So government is taking its time to understand what this is all about. At the same time, the retail is also trying to understand, right? So any promising technology at the early stage also comes with the risk, right? So when it comes to regulations, there are two parts. One is like, how does government regulate this so that anti-money laundering laws are like complied, the KYC exists, so that people don't use it for bad purposes. And the second part is the customer protection, right? Just like how we have this disclaimers when it comes to mutual funds, right? The key part here is educating customers about the risk here, right? Customers are not supposed to go all in on this, right? You said 2% investing in the crypto, right? That is like the perfect thing that people should do, right? This 2% can go to 20%, right? It's 10x happens easily in crypto, in a lot of assets, right? At the same time, the potential also for it to go to zero also, right? But if you are just investing 2 to 10%, you still have 90% of your assets intact, right? If you are keeping it 50 or 60%, it's very difficult to come out of it, right? So, and crypto is also just like stock market. There's going to be bear market cycle, bull market cycle, right? Understanding the risk and then doing the investment, right? Make sure that you can do this in a long-term basis.
Right.
If you are going all in at the start, right, you don't have chips to play. I think this is something like I love what Kamath from Zerodha said, right? He said there are two things only in there are only two rules in trading. First thing is you never go all in. You always, and the second thing is you always have to have chips to play.
Right.
Right. So I think that's what customers should do in this business.
Wonderful. And now from you, Sharan.
Sure. I think Arjun has beautifully explained the whole scenario around it, right? What I want to touch upon is on similar lines to what Arjun just mentioned. One, that people investing in crypto have to think of crypto as an asset class, right? And only invest as much as they're willing to lose and make it a part of their broader asset class category. Second, India is a very social country, so a lot of our investment advices are derived from friends and family. However, because crypto is so nascent, most of our friends and family are also not very well informed. So in most cases, rely on extremely thorough research and on the internet sources to read well before you invest in crypto. As far as the regulatory aspect is concerned, I think what we mostly misunderstand is that we think our regulators aren't really being proactive. I don't think that's true. I think a lot of these concerns that these regulators have is a pretty genuine concern. And while the thing about regulatory movement as compared to any other movement like market movement is that regulatory movements, you don't really see it in the front end, you always see it in the back. You only see the final decisions being made. But as of today in the country, there's a lot of regulatory movement happening underneath the surface, where there are a lot of engagement happening, where there's a lot of concerned government departments reaching out with questions, answers, trying to understand about the cryptocurrencies and the asset class use cases of it and why India should adopt it. And I think it's just a matter of time before we kind of really move into a regulatory environment where exchanges and different stakeholders in the ecosystem are fully regulated. And I believe, and I sincerely believe, that when we get there, Indian government would be one of the first, one of the most advanced governments to kind of quickly implement the utilities that come, the use cases of crypto assets.
Regulation. That's we see across the world, whether it's payments or crypto or whatever it is. And in this case, the technology and innovation are intertwined. So yes, I think we would actually see more of catching up. But at the same time, as Sharan was mentioning, I think there has been some proactive responses from the government to make sure that it is properly regulated well across the world, and so in India. And Sharan, I'm actually trying to understand from you as to how would you actually describe the demographics of your customer base? And then I will also take that view from you, Arjun.
Sure. A lot of our users are millennials. 70% of our users are below the age of 28. A lot of them are from tier 2, tier 3 cities. I think this demography is predominantly there because our millennials are tech savvy. They understand the technology behind crypto assets like blockchain. Second, they have never, it's also a generation that's learning about investment and all of that. And crypto assets will naturally become one of the first investments rather than a stock market, right? So that is why this demographic gets attracted. I think the major question here is that why are so many millennials investing into crypto? Is it because it's like you get high returns, or is it the promise of the returns that getting them to invest? I think a small percentage, yes, but mostly when I talk to a lot of millennials why they invest in crypto, two things that have clearly come out is that one, they invest in crypto because they want to be a part of the ecosystem, which they aren't able to do when they buy a stock. Say, for example, when you buy a stock of a bank, for example, you are just a holder of that stock, and you completely rely on the performance of the bank for the stock price to go up and down, and there isn't much you can contribute towards the company. However, when you buy a crypto asset like an Ethereum, you can code on it, you can contribute code, you can make it better. So the whole fact that the kind of work you put in can directly return the incentive of holding that token becomes a very paramount important thing for a lot of millennials to be investing in crypto. Second, the pop culture aspect of it, right? Investments have always been boring. Most people, when they think of investments, think of very structured, sophisticated mechanisms. But crypto industry comes with a lot of its own pop culture references with coins named Dogecoin, all of that. I think people find a lot of relatability with their life. So investments in cryptocurrencies are more or less part of their whole identity getting extended as compared to investments in other asset classes. So I think, yeah, these are the two major reasons why we see that kind of demography.
So I'd like to add what Sharan said, right? Indians love jumping levels. So normally what world used to say is first you become a manufacturing economy, then you become a knowledge economy, right? World goes like 2G, 3G, 4G, right? Actually Europe, they are just adapting 4G, but we launched, we jumped mostly from 2G to 4G directly. The 3G was there for a very small time, right? So even here people are normally, that's what, right? In India, the people who invest in stock markets is very small, like Sharan said, right? But you see a lot of people directly opening in crypto, right? They want to do something different, and crypto is fascinating in both the aspects. One is like people today, they don't have the patience to wait for 6 years, 10 years for a multi-bagger stock, right? They are more risk taking than their parents, right? And they want returns quickly, immediately. So the thing is, like, some of them also understand the risks and do it, some don't. So that is something we have to think about. But the other part is also fascinating. Once you get into this crypto rabbit hole, you look at the ecosystem and how fast it's evolving. Right? You always dream about how we want to be part of something that was like simple would be like Indian independence, all those things, right? I was fascinated like how internet would have looked like in 1990s when first browsers were getting built, first websites were getting built. If I had been there, I would have registered all the domain names, right? If I had been there, I would have built this app, right? So this like a search engine was like a basic thing that anyone would have tried to build, right? So now you get the chance again. You are in the cusp, it's just getting started. Crypto is just a 10-year-old technology, and if you remove Bitcoin, the entire thing after that, like Bitcoin, Ethereum and everything, they came in the last 4 or 5 years. DeFi, such a huge thing, it happened just in the last couple of years, right? NFTs are big only in the last 1 or 2 years. So there are so many opportunities to create. There are so many unsolved problems, right? So there is like a huge scope and opportunity also for in the market, right? Rather than investing in a mature company where they more or less solve the problems, right? What will you go and do in a business where people are happy? The problems are solved, right? So crypto provides you an opportunity to contribute. Like Sharan said, you can participate in the ecosystem, and I think the most beautiful thing is like watching the space grow, right? This last 4 years spending in this space, I think it's one of the reasons why I quit my previous job was I was simply not able to spend any time outside this space. You open the morning, there's some news about crypto that fascinates you. Oh my god, this is what happens. I mean, every day there's some kind of a news, right? You read about McCafe, what happened, even this whole thing that started with Satoshi Nakamoto. You read about him. There is so much fun and adventure in this space, right? That's what attracts millennials to this. And I think millennials are the early adopters. The rest of the age groups also, I think they will soon follow, right? Even in our platform, millennials form the largest group, and this is also typical, right? If you are making any tech related decisions in your house, right? You are buying a mobile phone, you ask someone who is in 20s to 30s to say what kind of mobile phone should I buy, right? Whether Flipkart or Amazon, where should I order? You take all these tech advices from this guy, right? So it's kind of obvious that these are the people who are leading the movement into crypto. So, and that's what reflects in our platform also.
Wonderful, such a fascinating thing. Just leading on from that question, let's say if somebody wants to get involved, want to actually make some investments, there are so many new cryptos that are actually coming up, SEBI and dodgy, and it's very confusing for the average user, right? So somebody tweets, the value goes up or goes down, and how do they actually understand about this, and where do they start, and what kind of opportunity the cryptocurrency provides in 2021 and beyond? Starting with you, Arjun.
So see, when we wanted to start this crypto exchange, so what we realized is we cannot look at the existing crypto exchanges to do this because they were just 3 years or 4 years old. So what we tried to look at is the stock market. The electronic stock markets have been in the market for like 20-25 years, right? The same thing also applies for the investor's perspective, right? Whatever is there in the stock market, a lot of rules, you can still take it and apply it here. The simple thing is, when you enter a stock market, where do you invest? You invest in a blue chip company. You don't invest in a small cap because small cap are skeptical to all kinds of volatility. Small news, like they sign up a pact with Google, right? It's going to shoot up their valuation like crazy, right? Or a COVID can kill them, right? But you invest in a company like Infosys, you know, more or less this company is going to be stable, right? So when it comes to crypto investing, people are fascinated about the small value coins, right? I'm not saying it's wrong, right? You may become really rich by doing that, but look at the amount of risk you are taking in doing that, right? Just you said, right, 2% in the overall portfolio is crypto. In similar way, you can build a crypto portfolio also, like it's kind of like iterative thing. You have like 60 to 70% the large cap coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, then take another 10-20% in the next medium cap coins, and the small portions like 2%, 5% you can throw around in all these kinds of fascinating things you are fascinated about. You can experiment, you can gamble. If it works, like just how SHIB has done, it has gone 10,000x, right? Even your 1% can give you the enough returns that you had, but if it had gone to zero, you will still not care much, right? So I think that is something, and this is first part. The second part is maybe a lot of people invest without having enough knowledge, right? So this happened to me also, right? I have been looking at stock markets for a long time, but unless I put my first money, I don't actually take interest in what's happening in the stock market. Otherwise, it's just a news that I see in TV and I forget it. So a lot of people may not be able to understand fully the crypto and then invest. So you have made your first investment in crypto without this knowledge, but once you do that, you start spending at least some part of your time in learning about these things, right? what makes SHIB so good, right? Okay, SHIB is talking about building a DeFi ecosystem around it. Ethereum is the DeFi platform. How do they work, right? What are the competitors for Ethereum, right? What is the next new thing, right? Whether this is as what has happened is, I think you will understand this much better, right? The work that you have been doing in the last 20 years as a VC, venture capital, like how do you evaluate a company? Like look at the team, what is the roadmap? Do they have the capability to execute the roadmap? Right? These kind of things, so you get to be in venture capital. It's such a, so I always love this thing, right? I wanted to be in venture capital because you look at ideas, you choose which idea. It's almost like actor choosing a film script. Okay, this script it will not work. This script, I think it has the potential to work. So that kind of thing, you are able to do it. So you are becoming a mini venture capital. So this is a responsibility. With great power comes a great responsibility. So 90% of the startups fail in your business, right? So you have to really pick and choose winners. So same thing happens here. So with this great power, also develop the great sense of responsibility, have a discipline to at least start learning, and after 2-3 years, right, we are in the still very early stage, right? After 2-3 years, with 3 years of knowledge, you can do great things, great many things, because at that point of time also this crypto is going to grow, right? A lot of new investors will be there. So in crypto, people measure the knowledge by how many cycles you have witnessed, right? You were there before 2017, you have seen one bull run, right? And one bear market. Now we are in the second bull run, right? So how many bull runs, how many bear runs you are able to manage? That is the kind of experience you will have, and you can navigate the markets very well. So don't look at just as an earning opportunity. Also look at it as a learning opportunity.
Wonderful. I think that is well articulated. That's very interesting. And Sharan, if I may take your view, please.
Sure. I think Arjun pretty much summarized it beautifully. In fact, he just stole the words out of my mouth, because one thing that I very often tell people is that the primary difference between investing in stocks versus investing in crypto is the mindset, the difference in the mindset. When you're investing in stocks, you're basically an investor in the sense that you have enough data. There is a regulator like SEBI who has already done some level of due diligence before a stock actually gets listed on the stock exchange. So you're protected in that direction. There are enough data for you to look at. You have balance sheets of the companies to look at. You can see their sales figures, their business, the profitability, and then make a very cautious choice. However, cryptocurrencies, when you invest in cryptocurrencies, like what Arjun rightly mentioned, you become a venture capitalist. You're a mini angel investor, right? You're betting on a story. You're betting on a company that is building a promise of solving a problem. Will they solve it? Will they not solve it? Is something you will only know in futuristically. And there isn't a lot of data, at least for the younger coins. There isn't a lot of data to kind of tell you where is this leading to, right? So you take those bets. Now, if you're somebody who is just in this ecosystem as an investor and not somebody who's really betting on the technology, or a lot of people might not even understand the technology, right? Then in that case, my advice would always be to stick to the older coins like a Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc., because they've been there around for a very long time. They've gone through a lot of stress tests and all of that. So you're most, you are well positioned to be investing in them and stay safe. But if you're somebody who really understands technology, if you're somebody who has a worldview and how technology can solve some of the problems that exist today, then I think you might want to consider looking deeply into some of these coins that are trying to solve the problem, right? Second parameter being that the risk factor becomes extremely important. How much of a risk appetite do you have? Investments are typically very subjective in nature. It depends on your risk appetite. What are you willing to lose and all of that, right? So considering that factors, you have to make your own strategy. But the safest one obviously is to go and invest in a small amount of money from your overall investment fund that you have, which you might be putting into stocks, mutual funds, etc., to have a small amount of that also invested into assets like Bitcoin, etc.
Following on from there, supposing we want our listeners to actually start understanding more about this, where do you actually direct them to go and understand more about the global trends, what's going to happen, what technologies? Sharan, would you be able to recommend somewhere for the listeners to go and see?
Sure. So when we were launching in India, right, and the kind of traction we got, the first thing we realized was that we're bringing in a lot of people. We are not just a company who's in an industry, but we're also building the industry, like on the forefront of it. So the first thought that came to our head was that, okay, I have a bunch of people who have never really heard of cryptocurrency. I'm getting them invested in cryptocurrency. That kind of becomes my moral responsibility to ensure that I'm taking them in the right path, right? And because there's a absence of regulatory environment in this country, you'll also have to act like a pseudo regulator, and you'll also have to build that trust factor with your audience or with the user base. Otherwise, you will not grow. So from a very research standpoint of view, what we've done is that we've built a lot of content. We've built a lot of written content. We've built tutorials into basics of cryptocurrencies. How do you evaluate a coin? How to keep your coin secure? How should your investment strategy be? Every major event that happens in the crypto, we kind of put it out and educate the user in multiple ways. The formats are typically, say, we have a blog called Kuberverse, which is now embedded into our mobile app. So users can go, a lot of our users, while they might not necessarily buy crypto, but they do go on the app just to read the content. So that's one thing. Second, we realized that we will have to build a lot of interactive content. So we did a lot of stuff on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is a good place for people to learn about crypto and crypto trading, etc. The third and the most interesting piece that we've taken up is that while both crypto and we believe that you should know about it, because crypto is not just about buying assets and speculation, all of that. It's a technology, and people, like it or not, all of us in maybe 10 years from now will be using crypto and blockchain in some format or the other. And most importantly, we will not even know that we're using it at the back end. And that the day when that happens, I believe that's when mass adoption has happened.
While I would actually request Arjun also to give that, I would just like to actually also mention, for the lack of time, some questions from the audience. Sharan, and then some more questions here from the audience. When will crypto bill come in India? And the second question is, can I put my money in crypto? I heard some saying crypto is illegal. And the other question is, will my money be safe? Maybe I think you can actually start with some of those thought starters there.
Yeah, I think in terms of learning, I think Sharan pretty much covered everything. So the last 5 years as a company, most of the crypto companies have been involved in education, because right from the onboarding, people have heard about crypto, but they don't know how to use it. For example, doing a withdrawal, you are asked for a withdrawal address. A lot of people put the home address.
Correct.
Right? They don't know what a crypto address is. Right? So, but this is like just riding a cycle, right? After 1 or 2 tries, they figure it out. Like people, like, you know, the tech is built in such a way that like a 2-year-old baby, they are able to understand touch phones, right? The same thing is happening here. So it's not too difficult to learn. So people are learning on their own, and there are tons and tons of material.
Right.
So for a long time, the contemporary media, they stayed away from talking about crypto, right? But nowadays they are forced, because their audience is asking, like, tell me, like, what's happening in this crypto world? It's so fascinating. Why are you not even opening your mouth about it? And all the major journals, they have started writing about crypto. The TV, they are starting having sessions on crypto, right? Having said that, right, internet gives you the flexibility, right? We used to talk about like Abraham Lincoln, he walked so many kilometers to a library to get knowledge and all those things. Today, internet has solved all these problems. You want to learn about something, Google it, right? Reddit. There is a lot of forums where you can interact with people. There are Telegram communities where people just talk about the technology. So to whatever level of understanding you want, you can, right? Coming back to the user question, right? This is something that we see every day. Like people asking, okay, you are in Bitcoin business. Okay, is it legal? Why are you selling something illegal? Right? Incidentally, I got married this year, right? So last 1 year I've been looking, so it was an arranged marriage. So my parents have been talking to a lot of other parents, and they're all like, your son is in Bitcoin business. Is it legal? Right. So this is, I think Sharan is also would have maybe not be the same thing, but even if you go and talk to a bank, you talk to any vendor, they are curious. Okay, tell me about this. Like, why are you in something that is like, and even the investors, right? This is the question that they have. So first thing that users need to understand is there is a difference between unregulated and illegal. Right. Unregulated means this technology has just come in. Right? Government has not made up its mind on how to regulate it. Doesn't make it illegal. Right? There is something called unenumerated laws. Right? If government doesn't specify something, right, this is wrong. Right? It means it's not wrong. Right? It's not illegal. Right? So government is taking its time, because this technology, even for an experienced person, it's very difficult to put barriers. Right? The best example is like 3 months back, US came up with an infrastructure bill. Right? So it was about to tax crypto companies and all those things. So Elon Musk and a lot of famous people, they made very good point, right? This is like a baby
Correct.
growing, right? It may try to sing, it may try to dance, right? You should not go there and start curbing its instincts. Like you should only walk in this way, walk in that way, right? This is such a promising and potential technology. Let it grow, just like internet, right? Let the technology guys, right? Let them figure out how it can be used and what are the purposes it can use, right? When it comes to a critical size, right? And when it is causing something, right? At that point of time, intervene and regulate it.
Right.
Till then, let the child decide its own career. You don't say you do engineering, you do doctor.
Right.
This kind of things you should not do even to technology.
Correct.
Right? So government is a good thing. They have not hurried and banned it. Right? They are doing the right thing by warning investors there is risk. Right? If you have the risk appetite, take it. Right? So so government is talking about the bill, right? They are taking it due time because it's changing rapidly. So 2017 they had a committee, 2018 they had a committee. What data they had and what data they have now will be completely different,
Right.
because this is a moving goalpost, right? Even if you have a committee and come up with a crypto regulation bill, right? 2 years later or 1 year later, they will have to do a lot of amendments to it, right? Just like what is happening with internet. So government is trying to come up with a comprehensive policy. So probably it will come in this session or next session,
Right.
right? It's up to anyone's guess, but let's hope it's soon.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think you have all been able to articulate things beautifully, and now that there's a lot more questions, and I am also actually equally excited like the audience there. Generally, I think because we are running out of time, I'm just wanting to close with a remark. For those listening in today, crypto as an asset class is very important to be part of your portfolio. Understand the fundamentals, the risks and opportunities, and for those who are more sophisticated, you can actually look at straddle options wherever there is volatility. But I think I had a wonderful session learning from both the speakers today, and thank you very much, FinTech Festival India. This has been a fantastic session, and thank you audience for all your patience and listening and beautiful questions. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Mr. Mahesh. And truly an eye-opener this session was. And we thank Mr. Mahesh, Sharan, and Arjun for sharing their thoughts on crypto and what it can bring to the table.
₹100 में बिटकॉइन ट्रेडिंग
पॉसिबल है,
इम्पॉसिबल।
लगी शर्त और हारा तो It's possible on CoinSwitch Kuber. Download करो और Bitcoin में trading start. CoinSwitch Kuber, सिक्का चमकेगा.
Cryptocurrency is an unregulated digital asset, not a legal tender, and subject to market risks and price fluctuation risks.
Where there is life, there is hope, there is meaning. But life has its downs as much as its ups. Life is about challenges. Life is about opportunities. Time for joy, time for celebration, and time to introspect. Thankfully, in every one of life's moments, and even beyond life itself, there's LIC. Where there is life, there's always LIC. Zindagi ke saath bhi, zindagi ke baad bhi.